Hello, and welcome to Coordonix, where we simplify tech for everyone. Today we're going to talk about this really useful tool that's built into Windows already, and it's mainly used by developers, systems administrators, but honestly, it could be used by anyone that's just curious about Linux. It's called the Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL for short. Now, all it takes is one command to get this up and going, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the prerequisites. First things first, let's make sure that your system meets the requirements that you need. To run WSL, you need a Windows 10 machine running Windows version 2004 or later, or you just need Windows 11. The second thing you're going to need is administrator access. So if your account is not an administrator, then you're going to need that administrator password. Now, how do you know if you are using Windows 10 at a version that's 2004 or later? Or maybe you don't even know you're using Windows 11. So to find this out, on the bottom left of the keyboard, there is a key that has 4 squares. That's known as the Windows key. So if you hold that and hit R, it pops up this little box called the Run box. Inside of this, if you type WINVER for Windows version, just hit enter and it's going to pull up this second box. So you can see just at a glance, I'm using Windows 11. I'm already ready to go. But what if it said Windows 10? If it does, then you need to look at this little section right here where it says version, and mine is 23H2. If you are on Windows 10, make sure that says 2004 or higher. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're just going to go ahead and close that box. And now we're ready to go. Now, to get started, we're going to open up PowerShell, but we're going to open it up with administrator privileges. Don't worry, it sounds fancier than it is. All we have to do is just hit start. We type in PowerShell, and then there's this Run as Administrator button right here. You just click that. It's going to pop up a box that you're not able to see, but it says, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And it's Windows PowerShell. Yes, we do. Now here's where the magic happens. This is the PowerShell terminal, and all you have to do is type the following command. We're going to do WSL space -- install. Now, we're not going to hit enter yet, but if we did, what's going to happen is it's going to enable the WSL feature. It's going to download a Linux kernel. It's going to set WSL2 as the default version, and it's going to install the default Linux distribution, which in this case is Ubuntu. If you want a different distro, that's fine. You can do that. We're going to rock the default, but let me show you how to do it in case you want to do. So we're going to get rid of the install. We do WSL space -- list space -- online. And there they are. That's everything. So if you wanted to run a distribution like Kali Linux, for example, it gives you the name right here. So it's Kali - Linux. In order to install it, it's the same exact thing. You do WSL space -- install. And if you want Ubuntu, which is the default, that's it. But if you wanted to install Kali Linux, for example, you could do space -D for distro, space, and type it just like it says on the left-hand column. So Kali - Linux. And that's it. You hit enter. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to do the default. So I'm just going to do WSL space -- install. I'm going to hit enter. As you can see, it's going to start performing the platform upgrades and all that. Now, it does pop up another box. And again, I can't show you, but it does say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Host process for Windows services. You just hit yes on that, and then it'll continue the installation for you. Now, this part can take a little bit of time, so we'll just wait until it installs, and then we'll be right back. Perfect. So everything looks like it installed. Once the command finishes, you may need to restart your computer. So if you look down here at the bottom, it says the requested operation is successful. However, it says changes will not be effective until the system is rebooted. So we are going to have to restart, but after we do that, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So after the reboot, we're all set to launch the Linux environment. For me, it automatically popped up. So you can see I'm in my Ubuntu window. It's asking for me to create a Unix username. If this doesn't happen for you, not a big deal. Just click Start, type in WSL, and launch that. Or you can search for the installed Linux distribution, so like Ubuntu, in the Start menu. The first time that you run it, it'll set up the user profile for you with all the default settings, and it's honestly that simple. So that's the step that we're at now. We're going to go ahead and set up a username. For me, obviously, we're going to go with Coordonix. Now it wants a password. So we're going to type in our password. We hit enter. Now it says to retype the same password. We type it in again. We hit enter again. And there we go. You can see the installation is successful. And that's it. Just in a few steps, you now have the power of Linux running alongside your Windows environment. So you can run Linux commands, test code. You can even set up a development environment if you wanted to. But we're not done yet. So Linux is another operating system that is running alongside Windows for us. So just like you do Windows updates, you also need to do Linux updates. So to do this, we're going to do sudo, which you can see up at the top here. It says to run a command as administrator. You can run it as sudo. So we're going to do sudo apt update. We hit enter. It's going to ask us for that password. We hit enter. And as you can see, there are 61 packages that can be upgraded right now. If you wanted to know what those were, you can just run this command and see what they are. We just want them to install. So we're going to do sudo apt upgrade. Sudo apt update to check for updates, and sudo apt upgrade to actually install them. Once we hit enter here, it runs through this list of commands and it tells you this is what it's going to actually upgrade. And it says, do you want to continue? We hit Y to say yes. We hit enter. And just like that, we're installing updates. This doesn't take too terribly long, but honestly, it just depends on your internet connection speeds. And that's it. If you found this tutorial helpful, give the video a like, maybe even consider subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments below, what distro did you go with? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.